Between January and June of 2023, I received 11,771 of the 14,488 abusive messages escalated in the BBC's own system designed to detect hate. Conspiracyland is not limited to one place in Britain either. It's infected towns up and down the country. Anywhere with an internet connection, you're likely to be able to venture into it. It might seem a faraway place for some of us, but all of our social media feeds can distort the world around us. We can be constantly exposed to subjective and polarised online worlds and pushed more and more of what we want to see by automated computer systems, algorithms. They use the hundreds of clues we give them every day to figure out who we are and what we like. They drive us to places and people we otherwise might not have found. They push us further to the extremes. Politicians and influencers and anyone else chasing likes and power weaponize that fact. Nuance and moderate viewpoints can be rare in this universe. No one is immune to these powers, and the consequences are far from fringe and inconsequential for individuals, communities, and societies. At the most extreme end, there have been conspiracy theory-driven riots at the US Capitol and a coup attempt foiled in Germany. Disinformation and hate have driven apart local communities. Victims of war have been targeted by ruthless propaganda campaigns waged by governments. Survivors of terror attacks have been told their injuries were faked. Healthcare workers, reporters and politicians have had their lives threatened by those in the online world just for doing their jobs, myself included. Lies about illnesses and vaccines have caused people to lose their lives. Families have been fractured by one person's belief in conspiracy theories, isolating them from those they love the most. Elections in Brazil and Ethiopia have been plagued with mistruths. There are threats with real-world consequences. More so than ever, what's happening on social media is bleeding into all of our lives, and it's having a huge impact. I don't reside in an ivory tower. I go out and meet the conspiracy theorists, the trolls and their victims, and everyone else affected. I travel all over the UK and across the world, so I can uncover for myself what's happening. My focus is primarily on the disinformation war waged on British soil, but that connects up with the one being waged everywhere. I've eaten fruit in an anti-vaxxer's kitchen with a blind cat, doorstepped a disaster troll at a market stall in a Welsh town, and unearthed the conspiracy underbelly swelling in the picturesque town of Shrewsbury. I've been called a bitch while attending conspiracy theory rallies in Devon by a protester who claimed that's not what they were doing, confronted my own trolls, and quizzed the editor of a conspiracy theory newspaper in a pub with multiple cameras rolling. I've cried with a grieving mum as I stood in the bedroom she still hoovers for her son, and I've had cups of tea with people who've been told that the worst day of their life never happened. I've met social media insiders in mysterious hotel rooms and had one of the world's most powerful social media bosses tweet a picture of my face. I've gone on car journeys with true crime TikTokers. I've interviewed people caught up in wars accused of acting, and I've wandered around French towns looking at looted shops and smashed windows, the flames of violence fanned by social media. I've huddled in my bedroom with 5 phones featuring fake characters I created to enter subjective social media worlds, and then flown with those same phones to Washington and Milwaukee to match up what these characters were seeing online to the experiences of real people. I've spoken to the bravest truth-tellers in the Philippines targeted by the worst online abuse, doctors who are the recipients of death threats, and journalists attacked in Germany by people who seemed to believe disinformation. It became clear to me early on that this was so much more than bots, inauthentic accounts used to manipulate online conversations. I wanted to understand the real people caught up in this world, who are often there at great risk to themselves and others. Through their stories, I want to show who really believes this stuff, how this problem manifests, and how it's shaping the world around us. From podcasts and investigative documentaries to online, digital, radio and TV news bulletins, my hope has been to report on this for everyone. Before we get started, let me introduce you to the language of Conspiracyland and how some of the terms I'll be using interact with each other. Let's begin with the basics. What's a conspiracy?